Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, college coaches. This is Coach Anthony Williams, founder and CEO of Connected Athletics. We are a new startup company based in Austin, Texas. We're focused on helping student athletes successfully transition from high school to college and then either into a career in the pros or a career in their major or in the employment market. We use the Spotlight podcast to help student athletes across the country tell their story in their own words, letting coaches know that these student athletes are more than just a huddle video and a transcript, letting them know who they are, where they're from, what their goals are during their sport, and what their goals are when their sport is over. And it's something that's not done enough. And so we're blessed to have this platform to allow student athletes to advocate for themselves in the recruiting process and give coaches more insight to who they are both on and off the field. Before we get into tonight's podcast, I want to thank our sponsors. We've got three good ones that have been really supportive of our podcast. First up is Epic. Epic stands for Every Play I Compete. They are a new, exciting sports apparel company based out of Houston. Good friend of mine, Stefan Johnson, is the CEO. They do some really creative designs on uniforms, 7-on-7 shirts and jerseys, caps, gloves, sweats, anything you could think of. They've got a really good design department that is really got some fire design. So you can look them up at I Am Epic 247. Our next sponsor I want to shout out are my friends up at Go Edit Graphics. They are a graphics design company that is specifically focused on helping high school and college athletic departments create dazzling images and graphics and edits to do outbound communication about their players, player showcases, their schedules, any outbound information to their fan base or to their alumni. So shout out to my boys at Go Edit Graphics. And then lastly, our main sponsor, Buffalo Wild Wings. My good friend and brother, Brian Soltis, is the regional VP, and he has made it a goal of his to have Buffalo Wild Wings do a better job of supporting student athletes across the country and specifically here in Texas by giving them this platform. So I want to thank them. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about one of the more exciting quarterbacks here in the class 22, CJ Dumas, class of 22 quarterback out of Paetow High School, which is the newest high school down in the Katy area. You're going to love this. He's got great size, 6'2.5", 195 pounds, 4.1 GPA, which we'll get to here in a second. Love this part. National Honor Society, Leadership Council, PALS member, team captain. I mean, he is a quarterback and he's a leader on and off the field. He was honorable mention in his district this year. Coaches, you can see his Twitter name there, CJ Dumas 2022. CJ, how you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to hear your story. I've been watched your video. I've talked to a lot of people that I know in the Houston area, and they say, Anthony, you got to get CJ on the show. He is a rising star in class 22, so I'm looking forward to hearing more about you. Let's jump right in. CJ, the first thing that jumps out is that GPA. Coach is going to be all over that, 4.1. Tell us about the importance you put on your academics.
Well, my parents have, they've always told me that school comes first, and I try to make sure that I live by that. Football is, a really important part of my life, but I won't have the opportunity to play that at the next level if I don't have my academics down. So I make sure that, I try and focus on that before anything else.
Man, it sounds like you understand the true definition of student athlete. If you don't take care of yourself academically and take care of being a student, there will be no athletics. So I appreciate that you said that. Tell us about some of the classes that you like that drive that GPA.
Well, I've always been good at math. So that's definitely probably my favorite subject. I've also, I'm really into, reading. I like to read a lot, and writing. So English is also in my top classes as well.
Okay. Tell us, there's not a student athlete in the country that doesn't get some kind of assistance from somebody, whether it's a principal, an AP, a teacher, a coach, a tutor, a counselor that's had an impact on them academically. Think back to even as far as elementary. Tell us somebody, a name of a teacher who made a big impact on you academically.
Well, I mean, I've had a great relationship with all of my teachers. One that really stands out was my chemistry teacher from last year, Miss Suarez. She really helped me, stay on track when it comes to chemistry, because science, it was kind of hard for me, but she made sure I stayed on track, and she made sure she found ways to keep me engaged, whether when there's like a hard subjects, whenever there's hard topics, that she made sure whether there's labs or study guides, she has made sure that me, as well as the rest of my class, that we were always on track. So Miss Soares, she really helped me out a lot.
Appreciate you shouting her out, and great job to her on that. CJ, have you always been a good student, or did a light come on in middle school or maybe early in your freshman year? How, I mean, have you always been a good student or no?
Well, my mom and dad both played sports at the collegiate level, so they've always been on me ever since kindergarten that I have to stay on track of my grades. They implemented a rule. I don't play video games during the week. Just to make sure I'm focused. So yeah, I've always been. I'd say that I've always been good at school academically. Yes, sir.
Okay. I watched your highlight video, your workout video. I know you're a good athlete, quarterback there at Paetow. Talk to these other student athletes that will watch this. I'm sure there's a lot of student athletes that would love to have a 4.1 GPA. Tell them one thing about how you manage your time to make sure you take care of your academics at a high level and still have time to work out and be an elite player on the field.
Well, I mean, the harsh reality of it is, it is going to take a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of kids that go out and hang with their friends, but when you're trying to fit in, writing an essay for homework right after working out until 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, you're not going to have time to go out and go out to parties, or go out to go grab something to eat with your friends. You're going to find time to do that, but you have to make sure that you set out time to make sure your work comes first.
CJ, I can tell you're going to be successful in college because, as you know, the main thing about being a great student athlete in high school and even more so in college is all about time management and where you put your time. And I say all the time to athletes, you are where you put your time. You can say I want to be a D1 player. You can say I want to play in the NFL. You can say I want to get my degree, but you are where you put your time. So it sounds like your parents did a great job of putting that in your mind and driving your academics. Tell us, you're a math guy, you're a chemistry guy. Do you have an idea what you might want to major in when you do get to college?
Well, those are always my favorite subjects, but as far as my major goes, I want to major in business and sports management, because I want to try and somehow stay involved with the game of football whenever my playing days are over. Or that's
Yeah, no,
coaching.
I can definitely see that in your future, and I could love to see you be a GM or an owner down the road, or an athletic director one day. So I love that you said that. There isn't a college coach out there, the good ones anyway, that understand that before I can really coach a kid up, I need to understand how he learns. Tell these coaches about your learning style. Are you more of a verbal, visual, or hands-on learning style?
Well, I mean, I'd say I'm a mix of verbal and visual, but if I were to choose one, I definitely say visual. I like seeing what I'm doing, so it just makes stuff a little bit more a little bit easier for me. But I can learn in any environment. But if I had the ideal one, it'd be
Good stuff.
visual.
Okay. 4.1 GPA, we mentioned it. I'll keep mentioning it again. I think I know the answer to this question, but I want to hear you put it in your own words. How are you in the classroom? Where do you sit? How do you interact with your teacher? How do you interact with your classmates?
Well, I mean, it's always been a thing since day one that you want to try and sit in the front of the class, to and make sure that the teacher knows that you're engaged, or that raising your hand, for to answer questions, even if you're not 100% sure of the answer. Just sure that you're engaged and trying. And I try to interact with everybody, because I mean, high school, it's not gonna last forever, so you want to try and build as many relationships as you can. So
Absolutely.
I try and stay engaged with people.
With that kind of GPA, and I know there's probably some guys on your team that don't have a 4.1 GPA. Do you reach out and help some of your teammates out who are maybe struggling in either math or chemistry, or their GPA is not where it should be?
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I'll get calls from guys, whether it comes to math homework or stuff like that. Just ask, hey, so for this problem, did we use this equation or this equation? Just helping them out with that sort of thing. So just whatever way I can, I try and make sure that I keep my guys on track, because there's no team without him.
Absolutely. No, you completely get that. Hey, let's switch over. You mentioned them earlier a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about your family. You mentioned your mom and dad are former athletes. Tell us a little bit more about them. What do they do for a living? Tell us about your siblings. Are you the youngest? Are you the oldest? Give us a little bit more about the Dumas family.
Well, I'm blessed to have both of my parents in my life, and I have a little sister as well. So it's just us three, or us four, I should say. My mom, she went to Grambling High School. I mean Grambling College, my bad, and
Mhm.
she played golf and volleyball, and
Wow.
right now she's currently the associate principal at Paetow, the school I'm at.
Nice.
So that's the one right under the principal. My dad, he also went to Grambling. That's they met back in high school, but
Mhm.
he also went to Grambling. He played basketball there. Uh, I mean, I'd still beat him though, but he doesn't like to admit that.
Just had to throw that in, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, he works selling medical products to burn surgeons. He
Mhm.
works in that type of in the medical marketing field. And my sister, she's in 8th grade right now. She plays volleyball. She actually just had a tournament this past weekend. They won first place in that, so they're gonna go to nationals for that. So
Nice.
we've all been around the athletics.
Okay. Good
So
stuff.
big part of our family.
Tell me, you got a younger sister who's obviously talented. Tell us about the importance of being the best big brother you could be and the best role model for your younger sister.
Yeah, well, I always try to set a good example for her because there's always we're gonna have a strong connection whether we like it or not. So it's just that's something that I always try and I try and make sure that whether it's mentoring about her mindset when it comes to volleyball or how she attacks the classroom, I make sure that she stays on straight because I want to make sure that she goes to where she wants to go in
Mhm.
life.
Okay, good stuff. I like it. Hey, tell us, we talked about earlier time management. Now, obviously, you spend a lot of your not free time, but you spend a lot of your time with your taking care of your academics first. You're working out, doing your best to become a better quarterback, and you're playing games. When you do have free time, CJ, what do you like to do? What are some of your hobbies and interests away from football?
Um, well, I mean, I've always been, a gamer. Whenever I do, like the few times that I do have time to, relax, I like to play games, where there's like 2K, Call of Duty, stuff like that. Um, and I mean, I try and keep my circle small, but whenever I can, I try and go hang out with my friends. Just maybe go. I mean, with Corona, there's not really much you can do. Whether it's
Yeah.
going out at their house, watch a movie or something. Just little stuff like that.
Okay. Social media is becoming a bigger part of recruiting. For the coaches that have not visited your Twitter page, what kind of message, what kind of brand are you putting out there about yourself? What are they going to see on your timeline?
I mean, they'll definitely see someone that's really, they're really all about business. There's a lot of people that take Twitter and they kind of like mess around on it and stuff. But I've always been told, what happens on the internet stays there forever. So I try and keep it straight to the point. Whether it's pushing out highlight tapes, liking or retweeting posts. So it's just I try and uh, keep it really straight to the point.
Okay, good stuff. I like it. Tell me, you're getting close to the end of your high school career. College coaches will want to know who's going to be involved in helping you make your decision on where you'll commit to go to college to.
Well, I mean, with such a big decision like that, I try and keep the people that are chipping in on my decision making limited. So, really, my mom and my dad are the main two that are going to be helping with that because, like I said, they've been through this process before. So I mean, I feel like they're going to be a big help with that. And also, my head coach and my quarterback coach Gott, the head coach, and Coach O'Connor, my quarterback coach, as well as Gerard Johnson. He's my trainer. So those five, they've all been a really big part in my building process. Whether it's from whenever I was little trying to learn how to throw a ball, to now where I'm about to compete in my fourth high school season. So it's just I know that they'll put me in the right position to succeed.
Yeah, Jared Johnson's a good friend of mine. Been a big fan of him. He played against my son in college, and He's been in a few of my camps. You've picked a good circle to be around you to help you develop both on and off the field. So kudos to you on that circle. There isn't a high school athlete in the country that doesn't love playing in front of a packed house on a Friday night. But giving back is something else that's important to student athletes. Tell these coaches, what are you doing to give back to the Katy community? Are you involved in your church? Are you involved in nonprofits, Boys and Girls Club? What are you doing to give back to people who support you on Friday nights?
For one, I like you mentioned, I'm involved in PALS, which is it's a class at our school where if Corona wasn't a thing, we would be going to elementary schools and mentoring younger kids that maybe are like going through stuff in their life. But due to Corona, we couldn't go to the elementary schools. So we've been helping with the life schools, with the life skills kids at our school, just talking to them about their day and stuff like that. So I've been doing that, and my church has been shut down for a while due to Corona. But before that, we did food drives. We went and fed the homeless. So I mean, hopefully it opens back up soon so we can get back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I like it. I like it a lot. Tell me, and this is kind of one of my favorite questions as a former, college coach. What do you want your life to look like when football's over? Whether it's right after college or it's after a 10-year career in the NFL. What do you want your life to look like personally and professionally?
Well, my goal has always been to make it to the NFL, but I mean, you also have to be realistic. While I feel like I have the potential to play in the NFL, that's not always the case for everybody. I might not get the opportunity, so I hopefully want to be involved in coaching, whether it's high school or at the collegiate level, just or maybe even working my own business as a quarterback trainer, just something involving football to where I can give back to the younger players.
Okay, I like that. Do you have a favorite quote? And if you do, what is it?
Um, I don't remember the exact quote, but it's a quote that Kobe Bryant said. It was something along the lines of every day that you take off is a day that you give somebody to get better.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that I've tried to stick to because it's this game. You're always competing against somebody, whether you realize it or not. There's somebody that's right now in California that's probably working out right now. So you just always have to keep that in mind. So that really is something that keeps me working.
Yeah, big fan of Kobe in that quote. One of the ways I would say it is you have two competitors, yourself and the guys who are trying to get to where you're trying to get to. And if you're not waking up every day and trying to grind with that as a motivation, then you aren't really into this game. So I love that you understand that. Tell us a little bit about, you've got good size, you're a good athlete. Do you play other sports? Are you a basketball, baseball, track guy? What do you do besides football?
Right now, I'm really only focusing on football and track. I run a varsity track at my school. I actually have a meet on Thursday. It's our third varsity meet of the season. I run the 400 and the 200. This,
there's not a college coach that doesn't love a football player that's running track, always work on their speed and quickness and competing in the spring. I'm a former track guy, track coach, and the fact that you said the 400 first, and everybody, I'm gonna run the 100 and the 200. The 400 will put hair in your chest that last 50 meters. So it is probably one of the two most difficult races, the 4 and the 8, if you're a sprinter. So I love that you do that because it takes you a special kind of athlete to run that race. CJ, tell us, you had a good year this year. What are some of the things you're taking from this past season and driving towards getting better for next season? What are some things you're working on?
Well, our season did get cut short due to Corona. We actually won our first round game and was headed to the second round, and we got shut down. And that kind of left a chip on our shoulder because I feel like we were really getting into the swing of things. And as far as like my confidence level goes, because I mean I'm a pretty confident guy, but when we go out and when like our first playoff victory in school history, it really just sets a fire under us. So I'm just trying to keep that fire going for me as well as my team to make sure that we can make a big run in the playoffs next year. So whether that's push myself to get bigger, faster, as well as my arm strength and the mental aspect of the game when it comes to the plays and my read and stuff like that.
You mentioned a big part. You're obviously quarterback. You talk about mental part of the game. Talk to us a little bit about all the things you have to process as a quarterback. What's going through your mind pre-snap? What are the blocking scheme, defense? What are they in? Tell us a little about your mindset. What are you doing? What are you thinking about pre-snap as a high school quarterback?
Well, I mean, you said it earlier, it's a packed house, there's a lot of noise going on, and I try to stay locked in on, what I need to do for the certain play. So most of the times as a quarterback, you're expected to know what everybody's doing and for each play, just in case somebody, doesn't know what they're supposed to do, you want to be able to tell them. And most of the time I get that information to them before we leave the huddle in case somebody does forget. But by the time I'm at the line, I usually, if it's a run play, I go through my footwork and my play fake just in my head right before I snap, just to make sure I have it under. But when it comes to pass plays, I go through my reads and I peek, whether or not, they're in cover two, cover one, cover four,
Mhm.
peek the edges, and this is all really quick because, you have a play clock and stuff like that. But, with years of, experience, it kind of gets, it's secondhand nature almost. So you just want to try and read what the defense is doing. And then really the main thing is staying calm. You want to stay poised and you want to stay poised. So when you have all that stuff going on, you just want to make sure that, you don't overload yourself, right before you snap the ball.
Yeah, I think you know this. College coaches when they look at quarterbacks and fans, they say you get too much credit when the team wins and too much blame when the team loses. Tell
Yes,
us
sir.
how you handle as a quarterback those highs and lows of playing that position.
Well, our coach, Coach Gott, he uses this quote a lot. You don't want to ride the roller coaster of emotions because it goes up and down.
Mhm.
And I try and keep it steady. Um, whenever we have good games, we celebrate with the team. Our coach has a 24-hour rule because we go out there and work out the next day. So whenever we win, we celebrate, and then by that time the next day we forget about it and we're on to the next team. So I just try and make sure that I keep a level head. And when it comes to the lows, as the quarterback and as a captain last year, I was looked upon as a leader. And if they see my head down whenever we start losing and stuff, it's just that's not a good look. So I try and keep my head up. I try and keep my teammates' heads up as well.
Yeah, I like it. That's a perfect response. Quarterbacks have to have mental toughness. Tell us about how you would grade or how would you describe your mental toughness as a quarterback.
I'd say my mental toughness is really high. There's people are always going to have stuff to chime in about my play, about my read, stuff like
Right.
that. And at the end of the day, none of that matters. I like to take into consideration like what my coaches say, because that's what matters. What the fans are saying, what random people from the other team are saying. None of that matters when it comes to what's going on in between the lines. So I try and filter out any of the other noise.
Hmm. No, you definitely get it as a young quarterback, man. You definitely understand it. Hey, let's finish up here talking a little bit about recruiting. What's been your recruiting experience? Who have you heard from? Who would you like to hear from? And just tell us overall what's been your recruiting journey so far.
Well, I haven't gotten any offers yet, but I've been getting looks from a lot of schools up in the Northeast region, DC, Philadelphia, schools like that. I've gotten looks from Georgetown University up in Washington D.C. I've gotten looks from Cornell, a lot of those Ivy League schools, because like you said, I have a 4.1 GPA, so it's a lot of those like academic schools that are really high academically. Um, but really, my whole philosophy with this is, I just want to go to a school where I'm wanted, where they're going to give me the opportunity to play quarterback. So really, whether it's D1, D2, D3, is just as long as I get the opportunity to play at the next level, I'll go and ball out wherever I can.
Love that response. I love athletes to understand that there are more levels than just D1 or FBS. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, and the more open you are, the more open your opportunities are going to be. I have to ask a question. I got a lot of HBCU coaches that are watching the podcast each week. Mother and father both went to Grambling. Tell us, what do you think about HBCUs, and are you open to them recruiting you?
Yeah, I never understood the whole thing where people weren't open to him. Like, at when it comes to athleticism, HBCUs are some of the most athletic dudes out there. So if you're a competitive athlete that's looking for a very competitive 4 years of football, that's definitely where you want to go. So I'm definitely open to going to HBCUs. You know, some of the they're really high with when it comes to athleticism and you know bringing that atmosphere of intensity when it comes to football.
Absolutely. CJ, let's finish up here. We talked about the elevator pitch. You talked about being in business. I'm an engineer and been in marketing and sales and my real job here. Take this time, look in the camera, tell these college coaches why they should recruit you and what you're going to bring to their program.
Well, I always believed that I'm a true student of the game. You know, I bring a lot to the table when it comes to whether it's being a leader, when it comes to analyzing like the playbook and stuff like that. I'm really a true student of the game, and you know, being 6'3", 190, I bring that level of athleticism and you know and intensity to the team as well. So I feel like I'm a true asset when it comes to to your programs. And you know, like and you know, like I said before, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, where I go, you know, as long as I'm wanted and you know, as long as I'm get the opportunity to play quarterback at the next level, I just need a chance.
Great elevator pitch. CJ, man, you are mature beyond your years. Kudos to your parents. You're level-headed. You're grounded. You're open. You are truly one of my favorite athletes in Class 22. If you ever need anything, questions that you may have, please reach out to me, man. I'm here for you. And tell your dad I said hello to me. He and I have been DMing back and forth, and he's doing a great job raising you, man. Take care of your little sister, and we'll see you here coming up in at an upcoming camp or combine here coming up. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a great night.
You too.